Hey guys, it's DuVäl and welcome back to the channel! Yay! Today we're talking about fake plants! Let's get started. Alright guys, before I get started today, I want to say a huge thank you to Mr. Richard Berkowitz of Berktator Builds, who is also my neighbor, for building me our table, which I love. I know you guys can't see this right now or what this looks like. I don't know. This needs to be painted white, obviously, to go with the rest of our stuff, but this is now going to be our design center, and I've been telling you guys that we have been trying to get our office together. I got other stuff coming, but we are making it happen, and I'm so grateful. So, you guys need some little things built, some handyman stuff, or not handyman work, but tables and boards. I think he's doing like those cornhole things. Regardless, here's his information, guys. Be sure to check him out. So, let's get started. So today I want to talk to you guys. Oh wait, I forgot. I feel like I've not been around for a while because I feel like I haven't filmed in so long, and for you guys it might have only been just like a week ago. But we did get out of the Continental last week and see our little god baby, and he's so cute. I wanted to just show you guys, say hello. This is not my baby. For those of you who saw him on my social media, I do not have a baby. It is not mine, although he looks like me, right? Right? Do I want a baby? Not right now. And probably not ever. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about one of those things, again, that I feel like is just probably overlooked by most clients and most people who just are designing their house or thinking about designing their house. And just like I was talking about, these simple things that I think are easy ways to fix your space with the lights and the scaling of the area rug, I think this is another topic that is kind of overlooked as far as being an option to elevate your room, being an option to elevate your entire space, and that is faux plants. And so while I know this is probably a point of contention for some designers, because there are several designers, of course, who want real plants, they just do not like it, and we even talked about this in our designer's dish.
Ooh, faux flowers and plants.
Okay.
Listen, I do not have a green thumb, but I still hate it. I do. I think I think they're tacky.
He's obviously has a different answer.
And I would rather see no plants in there at all, or something that's definitely more hardy, like a succulent or an air plant or something that could really, but live. I think the spaces need that.
100% agree. Hate it. And I actually think that's on my Instagram bio. That I love fresh flowers. I mean, fresh is the only way to go, people.
Yeah. Yep. Love fresh flowers, love fresh plants. Use faux plants constantly. So love, love, love it. Especially for your people, your busy professionals who do not have time for it, people with kids who don't have time to run around and water their plants and their trees. I think it is such an easy way to introduce color, life, and then just texture to a space. All for faux plants. All for it.
All right, this is going to surprise you guys, and I only say that I love it.
Yay!
Because I do a lot of second or third or however many houses people have, and you know what? If they're gone for 3 months,
exactly.
True.
And I do feel like every room does look better with something green.
Yes.
I really do.
Do you love how they just agreed with you but did not agree with me?
Did that
No one
happen?
noticed that? I noticed it. I do feel like for the majority of us, I think that faux plants can be a very good option to bring in depth, to bring in warmth, to bring in a feel of the space that's a little bit more curated, thought out, and intentional versus just putting pieces in the house. Sounds good? So when I'm thinking of faux plants, there are really just kind of 3 different topics I have in mind, or I guess different types of plants that I have in mind, and I would categorize those as trees, greenery, and floral arrangements. While it may be the same thing to a lot of people, it is very different for us. I want to go ahead and start with, let's say, floral arrangements, because I think that's probably the easiest one that most people think about when we talk about having faux plants in your house. So I'm gonna just share with you guys 4 different types of faux different types of floral arrangements that you guys can do in your house that we have been using. Let's just start with one. Probably the most popular one is hydrangeas. So if you're ever in the need for adding a little color, which I have back here, into a space, a dining room, family room, into the nightstand of your bedroom, a hydrangea is always going to be a good. What is happening right now on the thing? What is going on? Oh, it's a beach. It's from overview. Never mind. From this camera view, it looks like we're in outer space. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, so hydrangea is always a good one, and you probably see this in a lot of magazines. You'll see this in a lot of photography and studios, etc. And I think it's a really good way to just bring in color. Often comes in white, you have it in blues and purples and pinks and oranges. So I think hydrangeas are probably one of the safest bets to go with. Then you have peonies. A lot of people like peonies. It's kind of like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like a rose that had a baby with maybe a hydrangea. I don't know. It's kind of like a mix of those two. It's not too formal, relatively relaxed. I think peonies are a really great option for you. As far as other floral arrangements, oh, and another thing are orchids. Orchids, I think, are a very good way to bring a very simple, subtle aesthetic without feeling like you're trying too hard. And oftentimes those can be, you know, white or purple or have like those magenta colors in it. I think orchids are really pretty. And while I'm talking about actually floral arrangements, this isn't what I would necessarily consider a floral arrangement, but it kind of brings in color to the space, is anything that has a blossom. So I think cherry blossoms is something that we use quite often. Or if you do any type of like plant that feels like it's budding slightly, you'll be able to get a little bit of color into your space without feeling like you're having to commit to a complete blossom, rose, a lily, or whatever. Apparently I don't know a lot about plants. I can't even think of names right now. Let's go to the next topic. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about is just greenery. I think this is probably, to me, more useful than an actual plant. Well, I guess a greenery is a plant. Oh my gosh. Dear DuVäl, like, focus. Focus. All right, so when thinking about a plant, I am probably more likely to go toward a greenery than I am a floral arrangement. And even though I love the color of plants, I love the color of flowers, I'm probably more likely to just add greenery to the room. And so I'll probably put up a picture here and there. And for some reason, I guess in my head, I generally have color in the room. I generally have color on the pillow, on the window treatment, on some type of accent. So I don't necessarily need another layer of that. However, if there are no plants in the room, I think just adding a little bit of a green just kind of moment is really kind of helpful. And so some of the ones that we use pretty often, of course, magnolias is a very good one for us. I'm very into that. I love the way that the leaf falls over. I feel like it has a little bit of depth and dimension. It also holds its shape well. I think that's a really good option for those of you who just want some greenery. I think another one is probably going to be those olive trees. I really like an olive tree or an olive branch. I think those also, the way that they just flare out is always a little bit more organic to me versus like stems just kind of being really stiff. I think any type of faux olive branch is going to be a good option as well. The next one that I really like and I've been really getting into are eucalyptus trees or eucalyptus shrubs, eucalyptus plants, whatever you want to call those. I think that's another very soft and subtle way. Is that my phone? Is that my phone? Okay. Oh my gosh. Let's get through this. Another good one is a eucalyptus. And so for me, a eucalyptus is something I haven't used as often, but I have been kind of introducing those into spaces because it's a little bit of green, it's relatively like pretty soft, and so at the same time it doesn't feel like it is trying too hard, but it's a way to add a little bit of height, a little bit of just kind of movement into a space without it feeling like I grabbed a bush from outside and put it inside of a vase, a vase, how do you say that? The next one, which I also think is kind of overlooked, is a bowl of moss. And so while it was probably something I wouldn't have thought about maybe a couple years ago, even though I have seen them, for some reason, moss in my book has been becoming more and more of a very kind of like staple in our spaces. So whether we're using it as a centerpiece on a dining table, whether we're using it on a coffee table, or just placing it inside of a bookcase, it has been something that we have used over and over, and I feel like it just adds a punch of interest without feeling too kind of forward. I like it. Alright guys, and the last thing I want to talk about as far as like greenery goes and kind of elevating your space with faux plants are trees. And so while I do also know that this is probably a point of contention for a lot of clients, I've definitely had them be like, okay, I don't want a tree in the room, or that's not going to be something that I think I'll like. I probably have had the most success with putting trees into a space because they add so much more dimension, so much more depth. It has so much more movement than I think most people realize. And then when we put them into the space, I feel like the clients inevitably will be like, oh man, that's so much better than I thought. And so some of the trees that we really love, one in particular is probably the most common, is a fiddle leaf tree, and that's often seen in like modern farmhouse style. You also will see that, actually you'll see it across the board from like transitional and contemporary, depending on the size, the shape, the base that you have with it. I think a fiddle leaf is a very, very safe way to bring a tree into a space. The next will probably be another one that I think is very common, but it's funny that most people don't know the name of this. It's called the birds of paradise, or a faux birds of paradise. I think that's the name. I feel like a lot of people like that plant, which we would, I guess, consider a tree depending on the size of it, although it is, I guess, a plant. And I think that is another way to bring a very huge like leaf or a huge kind of surface of greenery into a space that I think is very good for most homes, I think. I guess I think about it, it's one of those plants that I feel like I always want to use, but I don't use, and I'm not really sure why. I think I like the look of it, and I like the shape of it. I feel like it's really kind of dynamic, but for some reason, I never land them into the home. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about that. Okay, and then the next one, I guess I already talked about this as far as greenery go, but an olive tree is also a very good option. So where we might have done olive branches for just greenery in general, you know, sitting an actual olive tree. Did I just say olive tree or an olive branch? Just an olive tree is also a very good option. Having the olive branch in a vase or a vase inside of a home, I think is a really nice treatment. But you can also go with an olive tree that has a bigger base and it has more height to it. I think that too, again, gives me a little bit more dimension. It's not just a leaf, but most olive trees come with those little olive pieces on it. And so I think that is another dynamic way to have greenery, height in the space, and it's one of those trees that don't feel like it's oversized. It has a little bit of airiness to it. You can kind of see through it, and that's one of those things that I feel like I am using more and more. I think it's something you should think about. Okay. The last one I would want to say is probably, depending on your location, I think a palm tree is a very good option. Now, I don't think that's something that I would recommend for every space. I wouldn't recommend it just left and right because palms feel very specific, a little bit more tropical. It feels a little bit more like the sun is supposed to be out all day. So for those of you who are in colder climates, I don't think a palm tree in your house is going to make the most sense because it's probably not something you're going to find outside of your home either. So with all of that being said, I really think for those of you who are concerned about faux plants, I would probably say at least test it out and try it. Almost all of my clients who I tell them this is what I'd like to do, or I show them the plant that I want to put in the space, it seems like they understand it in concept and they're like, oh, it's a good idea. But when we go to like close out the deal and we're about to pay for these items, it just feels like there's a little bit of like hesitation about it.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
And they're not sure it's gonna work. And multiple times I've told clients, hey, like, let me just put it into the space. If you don't like it, I'm more than happy to reimburse you and take it back. But we've always left them there. Now, for those of you who do not like faux plants, who do not like the permanent green, I think going with real plants is very much an option. I think the reason why I choose to go with faux plants is because I have a lot of families, a lot of working parents who just don't have time to like water the plants on the second floor or go down in the basement and make sure that that's being taken care of, or they're concerned because it's not getting enough light. So it's one of those things, more practically, I like to use faux plants. Also, for those who travel a lot, who are going back and forth to different locations, I think it's just not a practical way to spend your time. And faux plants nowadays are looking better and better. They're going so much more toward looking so real. I don't think you can see the space, but there's like, it looks like there's water in the base. And at the end of the day, generally floral arrangements are not the focus of the particular space. They generally just enhance it. Now, for those of you who want real plants, other than those who like actually have gardens, you know, there are definitely ways to go to your grocery stores to just pick floral arrangements and the stems there. You don't necessarily need to go to a nursery. You don't necessarily need to go to a garden house or a flower house or whatever, but go to your local hardware store. I think Home Depot and Lowe's, they have their garden centers there. Very easy to pick up. Or if you're just, again, shopping at the grocery store, Trader Joe's for us has very good hydrangeas and very good floral arrangement. Getting something from Safeway just inside of their thing and their like refrigerators, I don't think it's a bad option, especially if you're hosting dinner parties and you're having guests over. I think having real plants at that time could make a difference because, you know, the centerpiece that you're using it for, whether the dining table or in the kitchen, may be a focal point, and so you want something real, and I get that. But for the most of us, I think that just having a faux floral arrangement somewhere is going to help elevate the space. Okay, I think that's all I want to say. I feel like I was trying to be super focused today. I was trying to give you some options. I wanted to give you some things without making this video too long. I think the video's long. The video's too long. Okay, I gotta go. Good to see you guys. Until the next video. See you guys.